Yeah, I remember one time we were trying to tie down a load and I couldn't quite get it, so he's on it and we're both just bouncing on this winch bar and it finally snaps shut and we're like on the ground. It's something fierce. I can't go any slower.
Remember Ice Road Truckers? That white-knuckle reality series that had millions watching fearless drivers haul massive cargo across frozen death traps? What you probably don't know is that the real drama happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Here's what they didn't tell you. While the show celebrated Ice Road heroes, several cast members would face explosions, career-ending crashes, and tragic deaths that had nothing to do with the ice roads themselves. More shocking, the very act of being on reality TV may have put these drivers in more danger than the job they were famous for. Most people think they know what happened. Maybe a few accidents, some legal troubles, the usual post-fame struggles. But what I'm about to reveal goes deeper. We're talking about systematic exploitation, gender discrimination, and production practices that prioritized drama over safety. By the end of this investigation, you'll understand why becoming an ice road trucker celebrity was more dangerous than driving on the ice itself. Before we dive into individual stories, you need to understand the machine behind Ice Road Truckers. Original Productions had perfected drama manufacturing on shows like Deadliest Catch, but Ice Road Trucking presented a unique opportunity, a profession so inherently dangerous that even minor production interference could have catastrophic consequences. The show's formula was deceptively simple. Take real ice road truckers doing genuinely dangerous work, then add cameras, artificial deadlines, and producer pressure to create compelling television. But what worked for crab fishing became potentially lethal when applied to drivers navigating frozen lakes, where a single mistake means plunging through ice into freezing water. Cast members have privately revealed that producers regularly encouraged risky maneuvers for better footage, extended driving hours beyond safe limits, and created artificial time pressures that forced dangerous decisions. Drivers were offered performance bonuses for attempting spectacular saves or dramatic near misses, essentially paying them to risk their lives for entertainment value. The production crew's interference wasn't limited to encouragement. They actively created dangerous situations. Trucks were sometimes given less fuel than recommended to create "will they make it?" tension. Maintenance schedules were adjusted to increase breakdown probability during filming. Weather windows were ignored when dramatic storm footage was needed. When you're manipulating drivers hauling 80,000-pound loads across frozen lakes, the consequences can be fatal. But for television executives watching footage in warm editing rooms, these weren't life-or-death decisions. They were content opportunities. Art Burke's story reveals how reality TV fame can trap working-class heroes in impossible situations. The gruff Canadian driver became a fan favorite across 5 seasons. But when cameras stopped rolling in 2017, he found himself in a financial nightmare that would lead to a life-altering disaster. Burke wasn't just another reality TV personality. He was a legitimate ice road veteran with over 13 years of trucking experience who brought authentic grit to the show. Featured in 38 episodes between 2013 and 2017, he carved out a permanent place in fans' hearts with his no-filter language and pitch-black humor. Whether battling brutal blizzards or chewing out dispatch on radio, Burke's raw authenticity was magnetic television. But authenticity doesn't pay the bills when cameras stop rolling. Burke discovered what many reality TV participants learned too late. Fame without sustainable income is a trap that can drive desperate decisions. On November 3, 2018, Burke was attempting to produce cannabis shatter in his Yellowknife apartment bathroom. The process involves liquid butane, a highly flammable chemical that turns any enclosed space into a potential bomb. One spark creates a massive explosion. that's exactly what happened. The blast tore through the building like a demolition charge, sending Burke to the hospital with burns covering 40% of his body. The 12 days Burke spent fighting for his life in the burn unit were just the beginning of his nightmare. The explosion caused over $60,000 in property damage to the building, plus $20,596 in restitution he was ordered to pay. Burke pled guilty to arson by negligence, receiving 18 months house arrest. But the real devastation was financial. He lost his estimated $300,000 retirement savings on medical bills and legal costs. During sentencing, Burke painted a devastating picture of his losses. In one heartbeat, "Everything I worked for vanished. I'm going to lose all my savings for retirement." The man who once fearlessly navigated frozen death traps was broken by a single moment of desperation. Burke wasn't just some guy who made a stupid mistake. He was a skilled tradesman who had become desperate enough to attempt dangerous chemistry in his bathroom. The show made him famous but not wealthy, leaving him with celebrity status but limited income opportunities when it ended. The cannabis operation wasn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It was the act of a man who gave years to a show that profited millions from his personality, while leaving him financially vulnerable when the spotlight moved on. Darrell Ward's death represents the ultimate ice road trucker's tragedy. A beloved cast member whose life was cut short while chasing the next television opportunity in an industry that chews up and spits out its stars. Ward joined season 6 as a latecomer, but didn't need much time to steal the show and fans' hearts. Born and raised in Montana's rugged beauty, he wasn't new to danger. He grew up running harvest rigs with his grandparents, navigating tough terrain from a young age. That early experience forged him into the kind of man who didn't just survive on the road, he thrived. By the time he joined Ice Road Truckers, Ward had spent decades behind the wheel, crisscrossing the US and Canada, moving everything from produce to heavy equipment. His personal motto said it all: any road, any load. For 5 seasons, Ward brought intensity, humor, and heart to the icy highways, turning each delivery into a showdown and each challenge into an adventure. But Ward understood something many reality TV participants don't grasp until it's too late. Television fame is temporary, and smart performers build sustainable careers while they're hot. He launched his own trucking company to compete with industry giants, proving he wasn't afraid to carve his own path through the ice. Off-camera, he organized food drives for Louisiana flood victims and planned to serve as Grand Marshal for the Special Olympics truck convoy in Nova Scotia. Ward was actively building a brand beyond ice road truckers when tragedy struck. On August 28, 2016, Ward was traveling to film a pilot episode about recovering abandoned plane wrecks, a testament to his ever-curious, thrill-seeking spirit and his determination to stay relevant in the unforgiving world of reality television. The aircraft crashed during landing approach near Rock Creek Airport, Montana. The NTSB determined the pilot made a sudden, unexplained right turn at just 40 feet above ground, causing the fatal crash that killed both Ward and his unnamed co-pilot. No mechanical failure, no conspiracy, just pilot error that ended a promising life in an instant. The timing was devastating. Ward died pursuing the next chapter of his television career, a reminder that the pressure to maintain relevance in reality TV can drive people to take risks they might otherwise avoid. His death wasn't just a loss for fans. It was a gut punch that revealed the darker side of the entertainment industry's relentless demand for content. Hugh Rowland's story is the most damning indictment of production practices, a veteran driver whose career was ended not by ice roads, but by a reckless producer who treated safety as secondary to entertainment. Known as the Polar Bear, Rowland was an original star with over 30 years of driving experience and a reputation as tough as the roads he conquered. Long before cameras came calling, Rowland was already a legend in the North. He began driving icy roads as a teenager, and by the time ice road truckers launched in 2007, he had built the very ice roads many truckers feared. When producers approached him about filming, his response was trademark Hugh. "Yeah, you can put cameras in my trucks, but just stay out of my way. Don't cost me any money. Nobody's going to watch us go up and down the ice anyway." He couldn't have been more wrong. Viewers loved his gruff, blunt personality and get-out-of-my-way attitude. From Season 1 through Season 8, Hugh was a fan favorite who brought drama, danger, and much-needed tension to the show. Whether barking orders at rookies, barreling down treacherous roads, or pulling off wild snow stunts for cameras, Hugh was television gold. He even published a memoir titled On Thin Ice, Breakdowns, Whiteouts, and Survival on the World's Deadliest Roads. But in 2014, during filming in Canada, Rowland was riding passenger in a pickup driven by producer Will Morrison when Morrison lost control and crashed into woods. The impact left Rowland with severe lower body injuries that permanently ended his trucking career at age 60. Rowland filed a lawsuit claiming reckless driving, but the case revealed something deeply disturbing. According to TMZ reports, Rowland alleged his injuries destroyed his marriage and his ability to maintain intimate relationships with his wife, painting a picture of a man whose entire life was shattered by a preventable accident caused by someone who should have been protecting him. The case was settled out of court for an undisclosed amount, but Rowland never returned to the show. Here was a man who survived 3 decades of the world's most dangerous driving conditions, only to have his career ended by someone who was supposed to be documenting his expertise, not endangering his life. The irony is heartbreaking. Rowland faced down blizzards, mechanical failures, and cracking ice for decades, only to be defeated by a producer's moment of carelessness. Lisa Kelly's experience reveals a different exploitation: the systematic discrimination female cast members faced in a male-dominated industry. Kelly joined Season 3 and became the most recognizable female face. But producers explicitly told her she was hired for eye candy, a devastating admission that skill was secondary to appearance. Even worse, Kelly worked the first 2 to 3 years without compensation, providing free labor while the show profited. She was held to higher standards than male drivers, required to work twice as hard, and subjected to constant scrutiny. When she took a year off during Season 6, it wasn't just about privacy. It was about the psychological toll of being constantly objectified. Kelly fought back, demanded better treatment, and became one of the show's most successful members. Today, she runs her own trucking operation and maintains a YouTube channel sharing unfiltered thoughts about road life. She transformed exploitation into a platform for change. Stephanie Custance' casting represents one of the most questionable decisions, putting a 22-year-old single mother with less than a year trucking experience onto the world's most dangerous roads. Lisa Kelly later confirmed Custance didn't really drive a truck before the show. Producers essentially threw an inexperienced driver into life-or-death situations for dramatic television. The decision prioritized compelling content over safety. Focus groups responded to watching a young mother potentially succeed or fail in extreme conditions. During filming, Custance struggled with basic tasks like tire chains, while veteran drivers handled emergencies instinctively. She received mentorship despite production plans, not because of them. The real tragedy is Custance had genuine potential, but was thrust into spotlight before developing necessary skills. Alex Debogorski's success reveals why some thrived while others suffered. He understood the game and refused to be a victim. As the only driver in all 11 seasons, Debogorski maintained control over his narrative and safety. He insisted on contract terms protecting his autonomy, used his own equipment, and retained the right to refuse unsafe maneuvers. He kept detailed records of safety violations, serving as insurance against retaliation. His post-show success, best-selling memoir, and continued trucking into his 70s was possible because he retained ownership of his story and image rights. While others unknowingly signed away profit potential, Debogorski protected his future. Female cast members faced unique exploitation. They were assigned more dangerous routes because producers believed audiences would respond dramatically to women in peril. They received less reliable equipment and inadequate safety briefings compared to males. The harassment extended beyond on-screen treatment. Invasive questioning, manipulated family lives, and different contracts limiting autonomy. Lisa Kelly working without compensation wasn't generosity. It was exploitation of someone who believed she had to prove worthiness for equal treatment. While we can't claim cast members faced statistically higher dangers than regular truckers, there's a troubling pattern. Entertainment value consistently trumped participant safety. Regular ICE road truckers follow established protocols and industry standards. Cast members were encouraged to deviate for dramatic footage. The psychological pressure of performing for cameras while managing life-threatening situations created perfect storms of distraction and poor decisions. Financial desperation following the show's conclusion drove several to take risks they might otherwise avoid. Art Burke's operation, Ward's constant pursuit of opportunities, and other struggles point to the same problem. Reality TV fame without financial security. Despite documented problems, the trucking industry remained largely silent about the show's impact. This silence stems from positive publicity generated and legal pressure from the network. Multiple former cast members attempted collective action against the production company, but efforts were derailed by confidentiality agreements and legal intimidation. Those speaking out publicly found themselves blacklisted from industry work. The History Channel continues profiting from reruns and syndication, generating millions from footage created by risking human lives. No ongoing profits have supported former cast members or improved reality TV safety standards. Today, most surviving cast members live with long-term participation consequences that extend far beyond their television fame. Medical bills from filming-related injuries continue to burden many who never received adequate compensation for the risks they willingly took to entertain audiences. The financial aftermath has been particularly brutal. While the History Channel and original productions generated millions from the show through advertising, syndication, and international sales, most cast members received modest per-episode payments with no residuals or ongoing compensation. When medical emergencies struck years later, they faced crushing expenses alone. Several former cast members are working with attorneys to build cases against original productions, despite the legal obstacles created by comprehensive non-disclosure agreements and arbitration clauses in their original contracts. New evidence continues to emerge as production staff come forward with inside information about the show's dangerous practices, creating hope for accountability. The trucking industry itself has begun distancing itself from the show's legacy, recognizing that the entertainment version of their profession created unrealistic expectations and potentially dangerous role models. Many companies now explicitly prohibit employee participation in similar productions, and safety regulations have been updated partly due to incidents that occurred during ICE road truckers filming. But perhaps most telling is how few cast members have successfully leveraged their television fame into sustainable careers. Unlike other reality TV genres where participants can become influencers or launch businesses, ICE road trucking fame proved largely monetizable only within the narrow confines of the show itself. When it ended, most drivers found themselves back where they started, except now carrying the physical and psychological scars of their television experience. The real ice road truckers' story isn't about brave drivers conquering odds. It's about an entertainment industry profiting from human struggle while providing minimal protection for content creators. Every injury, financial hardship, and destroyed relationship was preventable if participant welfare had priority over ratings. The drivers weren't just documenting dangerous work. They were being systematically exploited by a machine designed to extract maximum drama from genuine peril. When you watch old episodes now, remember you're seeing evidence of an industry viewing working-class authenticity as consumable content rather than protected humanity. The real ice road truckers deserved better than having their profession turned into a network profit center. The cameras stopped, but consequences continue. Art Burke lives with explosion scars. Hugh Rowland's career is over. Darrell Ward is gone forever. These aren't just tragic stories. They're preventable outcomes of a system prioritizing our entertainment over their safety. That's the real story. Systematic exploitation that turned already dangerous work into unnecessarily fatal experiences. The drivers who made ice road truckers weren't just entertaining us. They were sacrificing safety, financial security, and sometimes lives for our viewing pleasure. They deserved better protection, compensation, and respect. Until there's real accountability for what happened during those 11 seasons, their sacrifice will never be truly honored.